Hi, I'm Todd Pappy, Design Director in God of War 3. I work directly with Stig, who's the game director, and kind of disseminate his ideas and philosophy and vision of the game throughout the design department. So working closely with combat designers, level designers, and also cameras. Everything is driven by a story. Stig comes up with the story with the writers and everything like that. We figure out what our set pieces are going to be and then start flushing out those ideas and getting into the nitty-gritty of either a puzzle or a combat room or this is a story moment, and start laying those out and seeing how those notes fit into the whole overarching story and really start seeing how all that flows together. There is a distinct separation between design and art. For the most part, we'll start everything and then we'll bring in some of the artists, whether it's going to be the artist that's working on it or art director or lead environmental artist, and also concept art. Once we've got something a little bit more flushed out, then we'll bring them in and say, hey, can you guys build this in X many days that you have? Or this is the idea that we're going for from a concept perspective, and then they'll take our design sheet and do concept paintings over it, and so it'll give kind of a high vision that the environment artists will then use as reference work for when they're building it. First and foremost, I hope that players love the Titans. You know, I think this is one of our big showpieces, and it helps separate ourselves from anything else that's been done before. You start on the shoulder, and you can kind of see the path that you take as a player, where you start here and then you're locked in and you've got the branch that you lift, and then go down the arm and you see the hole where the Leviathan pops out. Roughly 1,500 feet tall, Sears Tower size, and just the sheer scale of being able to know that, hey, I'm running down this arm, and at any point in time this thing can flip and I go into a new gameplay mode. If we want to look at movies or artwork and how those influenced us, we've got an MC Escher puzzle. In that puzzle, it's kind of our take of the waterfall image and how the player builds that and then uses his skills in order to basically break the garden and solve it and use it to progress. And then any traps or anything like that, those can always be associated with James Bond or Indiana Jones, or you know, any kind of action adventure game that we have now, Mario, Zelda. We do have a music puzzle in the game, and it is somewhat of a rhythm game, but I mean, at the same time, it could have been Guitar Hero, it could have been Parappa the Rapper, any sort of rhythm game. Britney's Dance Beat, that's another good one. From there, it's basically taking what is that essence and then putting a God of War spin on it. So for us, it was, it's actually connected to the hub and being able to use that to influence a fairly large set piece and have a meta puzzle wrapped around it, and that's kind of our take on Guitar Hero or Parappa the Rapper. From a design perspective, being able to work on the PS3, it's more, we're limited by our imagination versus before we used to be limited by technology. On 1 and 2, we were always faking things. So when you see the shot of Typhon, it's really kind of just a bust and just some animation and you know, his blowing effects and all that stuff. It was faked. Now we're actually on them, and when they move around, you're actually moving on them. And when we design them, we'll start moving the animation around and seeing, hey, what's an interesting path that we can take down the arm for like the opening of the game. What is the player going to be doing when we've locked them into this arm space? You know, we're trying all sorts of different ideas. Do slaps work? Do claws work? Does biting work? You know, and all those different kind of ideas all get thrown out on the table. We wanted this to feel like one unified story from God of War 1 to the end of this one. So from a design perspective, we wanted to make sure the player's navigation, combat, and roughly what he interacts with, you know, stay somewhat the same. And then it's how do we take those things and put a new spin on those, like the rideable Cyclops or the rideable Cerberus. It's taking something that we've seen before, and adding a new spin on it so it feels fresh and new. I think we're our harshest critics and just want to make sure that everything's as best as it possibly can be.